bit now about West Side Story. Actually, when the students chose to do West Side Story, we were a little bit concerned because it's quite a difficult piece. It's loosely based on Romeo and Juliet, but was written in the United States in the 50s. And at that time there was a very big concern due to immigration and Spanish ethnicity coming into the United States in New York, and the predominantly white Caucasian, and the conflict that occurs of these two groups coming closely together, living together. But we felt that that would not really come across here in Thailand. So we've adapted, we've kept the idea of Romeo and Juliet, a love story about one boy who comes from one gang, the Jets, who are the wealthy, better off Thai, against the Sharks, who are the newcomers, the new people coming in, who are the people who perhaps are working very hard and taking over businesses and getting involved in maybe buying property that would have belonged to the old-fashioned wealthy Thai. So the love story comes from one boy from the Jets and one girl from the Sharks who fall in love at a dance that is arranged to try and bring the two groups together. And then we've adapted it ourselves to set it in Bangkok. So it's very much about the new, maybe a little bit poorer people wanting to have what the rich already have. So you've got West Side Story working on one level as a love story, and one level about rich and poor. And the third one would be about violence, about the use of force, fighting, as an answer to solve our problems. Because in the story, West Side Story, it ends up with a rumble or a fight. And in the fight, two people get killed. And at the end, it's very tragic. It's a tragic love story because one of the two lovers is also killed. So it works on three levels, really. That third level being about the use of force. And of course, what we try to get across in the story is that fighting, violence is not an answer. There must be a better way. Now that's quite topical, of course, here in Thailand because of all the conflict that's taken place, red versus yellow, one group against another. So it's quite a topical issue. So it's West Side Story, yes, but West Side Story is set here in Thailand or Bangkok.
What characters there are in West Side Story? There are several leading characters in West Side Story, and mostly set up in couples. So we have Tony and Maria go together, and they are the Romeo and Juliet, if you use that analogy. It's loosely based on the story from William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Tony is from the wealthier group, from the Jets, and Maria is from the Sharks. They meet at the dance and fall in love and know that they are the one for each other. So we always look for the one in love, and Tony and Maria know that right away. There is also Bernardo and Anita. Anita is Maria's best friend, and Bernardo is the leader of the Sharks. And then there's also Riff, and Riff is the leader of the Jets. So difference between the Broadway and classical voice. I think everyone in the audience will be able to hear the difference when they come to see the production. Tony and Maria are written much higher and have to use more classical voice. If you think of classic song like Tonight, many people have probably already heard that song and can think of classical voice doing it. And in fact, West Side Story has been done with opera singers as cast. Then you think of a song like the Jet song, which features Riff, or A Boy Like That, which features Anita, and is lower and more of a belt voice. very strong, low chest voice for a woman, and middle range written for men. And those, especially the Jet song, which is the opener, is an extremely popular song. So many people will recognize that when they come to see the production. Rehearsals so far, I came back to Mahidol late, so I have not been at rehearsals from the very beginning, but when I came back, I was very impressed with the level that the students were at for rehearsal. We spend 5 days a week rehearsing, 2 to 3 hours a night during the week, and 4 to 5 hours on the weekend. So it's very commitment oriented. It takes a lot of the students' time. And most students are very willing to volunteer their time and happy to be at rehearsal. And I think they're learning a lot in rehearsal.